There he is, T-City, with an old friend, an unannounced guest.
What's up, brother? What's up?
Henner Gracie, how about this is great.
Appearance, you guys. You get the
Wow.
2-for-1 special. What's up, brother?
I didn't pay for this. This is amazing. How are you guys? Brian, Henner Gracie, thank you
Awesome.
so much. Congratulations to you both.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Okay, let me start with you, Brian. 36 hours ago, it seems like your life changed. You finished the guy who had never been finished before. You're the #1 contender. What is life like on this Monday morning? Does it feel different?
Yeah, it feels different. We just got back from doing a show with Brendan Schaub right now, and we literally just got to the office. So, I mean, I could feel the change for sure.
Wait, did you do Brendan first or me first?
Brendan first because it was earlier.
Whack. That is whack. He got the exclusive. That is whack.
Brendan's won't air till whatever tomorrow, so it's not live. Which means basically we did Ariel's first. Don't tell him we spilled.
Yes.
We did yours first.
Awesome. Thank you. Brian, did you know, at what point did you know that Frankie had never been finished? Like, do you remember someone telling you that? And do you remember saying to yourself, this is something that I want to accomplish, that being a goal? Because you talked about it leading up to the fight, but it wasn't something that was very publicized. When did you find out, and when did you make this a goal of yours?
It was about a week and a half before the fight where, I mean, the whole camp started fast. Everything was at a fast pace, taking the fight on short notice. So all these things were going on. And I think like a week and a half before the fight, when all these, like these hype things started coming out, like Frankie Edgar has been the man that has the most time ever in the UFC octagon, came up. That was as like facts about Frankie. It was like a photo of him and all these facts. And it said, never been finished. And I was like, wait, he's never been finished. And then kind of when I seen that, I realized, I said, you know what, I always want to make a different kind of stamp, and I always want to finish. And because I'm a finisher and he's never been finished, it was almost like it was a test to see if you can get through that or not. And I mean, that challenge accepted. I took it to my own self.
But honestly, were you thinking submission finish? Were you really thinking via strikes?
No, I wasn't thinking via strikes. I wanted to hurt him via strikes, and I wanted to submit him. Me and Henner and myself, we've been working on a lot of stuff lately, and pretty much sniper jiu-jitsu shots, we're calling them. And he got out of the first one, and then after that, I said, you know what? Let's bang it out a little bit more. And I realized that my strikes were actually hurting him. And once I felt him slip up and weeble wobble, that's when I said, you know what? This is how we're going to finish it.
Yeah, what's crazy is actually going into the fight, the training for this one, as many people know, was only 3 weeks of training, right? So 1 week of media, the fight week, the weight cut week, and being there for the fight. But 3 weeks of training, 3 weeks of real training for this, and for his training partners, for the crew here at Gracie University, and Coach James, Jitesh was a huge help. All the crew that we had pulled together, great sparring partners. Everyone who was watching him in training was like totally blown away by his precision on the stand-up as well, though. His submissions are always on point. They've been that way since he's 14 years old. But from the stand-up perspective, we're like, wow, look how relaxed Brian is right now. It's almost like the fact that it was such short notice, the fight was almost a good thing, where it was like, yo, we're fighting tomorrow, go do what you do. And there wasn't even time to really let it get in your head. So in training, he was the most fluid, he was the most relaxed, and the most precise in the stand-up. So I'm like, well, this is not really, the way the world expects this to go. But if he fights in the cage with Frankie, the way he's fighting right now, sparring in the training, there's a really good chance that he knocks him out. Like, that was not off the table at all because of how precise he was. And in fact, they had been working the uppercut, right? So Coach James had been nailing it. And then Mike Safai, the nutritionist, personal trainer, one of Brian's coaches as well, Mike Safai was like, yo, he's the one who called it. He says, man, Brian is so relaxed and he's very effective. Even while he's backing up, he's landing on his training partners. Like, the movement is like the Matrix. And Mike just really pinpointed it this camp and said, Henry, it's a different level right now. I don't know what happened, but it's different. So then as we get to the fight week, I'm like, man, whatever we got to do as a team to keep Brian so that he gets into this fight on Saturday as if he's in training. That was the whole mindset. We have to get him in the cage at the same relaxed T-City bundle, as I call it, just totally relaxed. Nothing matters. Just go in there and spar with this guy. Like, if he fights like that, Frankie's in trouble standing and on the ground, and it was the fact.
Brian, would you agree with that? The fact that it was a shorter training camp actually, played into your hands and made you more comfortable going into the fight?
Absolutely, man. I felt like right off the bat, I felt like I did a lot of work, but then once I realized it's 3 rounds, things just really got easier. Like the sparring was, I mean, I've done so much sparring just in one camp than I did in my other camps. It was like we're sparring Monday, Fridays, Saturdays, and I actually had I had a schedule for the first time. I had meal preps, for the first time. I had recovery sessions for the first time, and I feel like, I mean, because of short notice, and I had like I said, my friend Jitesh helped me with the planning. I feel like it was one of the best training camps I've ever had, even in a short notice.
It's because it was short notice. Everything was like, all right, let's all get dialed in. Boom, and we kind of got everything real serious, real quick. Where, to be honest, when you have 3 months to prepare for a fight, you're like, all right, we're good. Let's go surf a little bit, let's train a little bit. So it's kind of it's a little bit more like, let's just pull it together, more relaxed. But it's true. Like Jitesh came in with the training schedule. Mike and La Tapateria, what's the guy's name over there?
La Tapatia.
The guys came in with a whole meal plan. Like a lot of things were first for this fight, where it really became serious because we know that Frank was in line for the title. So I told Brian, I said, this is the undercover title fight right here. Like, this is the one. So let's go win this one, pull it all together, and it couldn't have happened in a more spectacular fashion. And I believed in a knockout or, submission, both possibility, but not in round one. We were ready for a 3-round war, and I was fighting for it to be 5-round fight. I was like, we need 5 rounds with Frankie because Frankie's cardio is so off the charts that 3 rounds won't be long enough. But that didn't happen because we ended up at co-main, and they made it 3 rounds.
By the way, it's such a trip to see you guys together talking, because every time I hear Brian speak, the first thing that comes to mind is Rener Gracie, because I feel like you guys sound exactly alike. So now, like, closing my eyes, I don't know.
Well, now you can finally see the difference.
Yeah, you do hear the similarities, though, right?
He has similar cadence, and naturally, he grew up on the green mat, so he learned how to teach jiu-jitsu.
I've been with him for 14 years, probably over half my life.
Listen,
now.
and
almost every single
I couldn't
day.
I couldn't be more proud of him in terms of how far he's come. And people always see the jiu-jitsu, and when I see Brian do chokes on people, I'm like, that's Rener Gracie with that tight choke right there. So I see my chokes in him, but when I see his character, when I see how he's interacting with other people, and the humility, even at the spot where he's at, that's what I'm most proud of. And I have no responsibility in that because I didn't come from where he came from, and I'm not where he's at and where he's going. And he's in untreaded waters in terms of my experience. I'm not fighting for the title in the UFC. So to see the humility with which he's kind of taken this role and the good things that he's trying to do with his spotlight right now, it's I'm in admiration as much as everybody else.
And we'll get to that in a second. But as I told you via text, Brian, my mom is in love with you. She won't stop talking about you. So now you got the moms following you as well. That's a whole other sector of the world. Have you ever landed a punch like that? It looked to me like Frankie actually went off the mat, he shot up like a cartoon. Have you ever landed a clean punch like that before?
Never. Only in training. Like I said, my boxing coach James Lurson and I really trained hard, and we even called it. We said we're gonna catch him with this uppercut. I said, the way he is, and he comes in, he goes, that uppercut's going to land. And I can remember during the training camp, we would go and train, just me and him, and we'd do 10 5-minute rounds and just drill the hell out of these things. I mean, to the point where I'm like, come on, dude, like, that's enough uppercut, left hook. Like, we can't do 10 rounds of uppercut, left hook. Like, let's do some more. Like, and as a coach now, I see, okay, you were right. I always hate saying you're right, but you was right. And every single fight I've always tried to land something, but even especially my uppercuts, they just fall short. And this time I feel with, I don't know how many rounds that we did of training that with my coach, but when I seen it, I could just imagine just the mitt and versus his chin, and I just threw that uppercut and timed it right.
Well, let's not forget the perfect elbow of the century.
The perfect elbow, yes.
I mean, that elbow, from the distance and this precision of that, I mean, this is amazing.
Yeah,
could you tell when you landed?
Came through with the crazy plan.
When you landed the elbow, could you tell that it was the beginning of the end?
So when I landed the elbow, we realized that he might have insecurities about his orbital.
Oh, okay.
Because I know I felt the same way every time I've had injuries. When I come back to training, I'm always very insecure about it. I always baby it a little bit. So for him to have that problem and then try to jump right into training camp and do all that, I knew for sure it was going to be a factor there. And I realized, I said, you know what, let's attack that and let's kind of bother him a little bit with it. And then when I realized he was being in my face, and he was, because of the size difference, he was able to be in my face. And when I wanted to hit, my arms were so long, I couldn't. So I looked for the elbow, and then that's when I said, okay, this elbow is gonna land right on the orbital, and then I had bad intentions with it, and everything fell through.
And then after wobbled him, you were like, for a second, you didn't know if it was.
Yeah, I thought it was maybe like another Frankie Edgar, Gray Maynard type situation, because I wobbled him, and I seen him wobble, and I was like, yeah, right. Like, this guy's gonna come back like a bat out of hell, like he did with Gray Maynard. But I said, I'm still gonna pursue him, and I'm still gonna attack. And then once I seen him he didn't really come back from it as well as I thought he was. And when he leaned on me, that's when I knew, okay, this guy's in survival mode. I don't know how much time I had, but I knew I was running short of time. So I said, at least if I'm not gonna finish him, let me just finish and get this round back. And that's what I was aiming for. And when I seen that opportunity, I took it, and I'm happy.
When you threw that uppercut, like he threw the entire kitchen sink in that uppercut. Like, that was the most. When you watch him back, the wind up where Brian's hip rotation and full connection. I mean, that's Frankie literally flew off the ground, and it's spectacular.
The job was done.
Henner, how old was Brian when you met him?
Brian came in for his first class at 13, just around 13 years old, end of 12, early 13. And stuck around for 1 year, was super dedicated, was like the most, every class, didn't say one word. Even if you spoke to him, his little face, he would look with just his little blue eyes and act like you didn't know what you were talking about. And then you put him to train with people, and he's choking everybody out, just absolute savage, took to jiu-jitsu like 100%, like anybody I've ever seen. And he became the enforcer. When you came in, there are many people in the building today who are black belts who teach with us and work full time with us, who are like, yo, Brian was the guy that when I rolled with him, I believed in the possibilities of jiu-jitsu, because rolling with me and Hito, 6'4", 190 pounds, it's like, great, you guys are giants. But Brian, 13, 14, pretty blue eyes, 125, 130 pounds, sinking triangles from everywhere. You're like, I want to be able to do that to someone else. So he was very much an enabler. And then after 1 year, that's when his dad came in and was like, yo, we love the training. And, I had become closer to Brian by that point, but he's like, hey, we love the training, but, we can't afford it anymore. We can't afford classes anymore. It's too tight. And I'm like, hold on. This is not happening. What you're saying is happening. And they said, we have to pull him out. And I said, no. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of him from here. And that was it. That was the last time he paid for class. And since then, I've been 100% like, and at the time then, it was like, yo, Brian, fold these towels, clean this mat, do this laundry. And he would sometimes sleep in the mat over there and like come over, sleep on my couch and get up and work and assisting, teaching kids classes. Became an amazing and is an amazing instructor. But it was just pay off your tuition by just being around and doing anything. Anything was necessary. Move those boxes over there. And then little by little, he's coming up and he learns all the ropes. And, he learned how to teach. He became a spectacular teacher by 16, 17 years old. Then we're traveling all over the world. And I'm like, come on, let's go. We're going to go teach these cops in, North Carolina. We're going to go teach these cops in Oklahoma, teach this seminar over here. And he was just my sidekick for so long. And, he just learned all the ways. And then, 18, 19, 20, 21, got in his first couple of professional fights early there. And that's when we saw him in the fights. And you said, wow, even in the most difficult fight search situations, this guy is totally calm. Nothing would kind of faze him, whether he got hit or, adversity. That was from the beginning. That was from his jiu-jitsu days. And that's what people see today. They go, man, the guy walks in there stone cold, 100% clear, relaxed and present. And it doesn't matter if he gets punched or rocked. He's still in the fight 100%. And we were talking about it this morning, or we're going to be talking about it later this morning with Brendan Schaub. But
that's why he's so excited. Relax.
We're talking about crazy. People are like, well, where does this come from? This ability to be absolutely calm and turns nothing into something. And I thought, wow, this is his whole life.
Yeah.
The adversity, the challenges, the upbringing, all the difficulties that he dealt with in his youth, which is pretty public, now the world kind of knows his story. And if not, you can look it up. And then to turn that, that trouble, all those troubled circumstances into what he has created for himself, that's what's most exciting to watch. People are fans of T-City, the fighter today, because he wins in spectacular fashion, undefeated, all finishes against tough opponents. That's like 10% of what there is to be excited. No, they need to know, because you're not going to do this by yourself.
All he asked was like, what age did he start training?
I know.
Like, chill, dude.
Ariel, you know how we do it, because he's not going to do it about himself, so the world needs to know that.
Sure. No, I feel you.
Though, is that he took nothing, turned it into something amazing, and we're just excited to be part of the ride.
Brian, once upon a time, Henry Gracie, and it still stands, has the record for the longest answer in the history of the show. I think he went like 13 minutes talking about like avocados.
One question answered.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
All
Brian,
right, I was like,
no,
we asked, like,
we know, Henry. It's all good.
Blackbeltinterviewers.com, you guys.
You mentioned this kind of in passing on Saturday, but I just want to give you the opportunity to talk about it a little more. So you have officially started the Brian Ortega Foundation after the win over Cub Swanson, and you're going to pay it back by, paying for kids like in a scholarship way to go train at the Gracie Academy. Is that accurate? What is the Brian Ortega Foundation?
Well, the Brian Ortega Foundation is to cater and helping people all around the world in all different kinds of situations. And the first steps that we are going to take is we're going to start doing what's called the T-City Scholarship, whereas we're going to be sponsoring kids, I think from ages right now 6 to 16, and we're going to give them 1 full year of training. And we realize that, and especially realize that if we only cater to our own city, we're limiting ourselves. So we're using the Gracie University and all the schools that we have affiliated with to where anyone who is around a university can go, and we'll sponsor a kid to go train there for free for 1 year. And Hannah's been working on this since last night, and we're because we took this fight on short notice, we were working on the foundation. And if I had it my other way, it would have been Frankie and Holloway fight, and after the win, I get the winner in the summer, and by then I already accomplished and done the foundation, set it up properly the way I wanted to. But because everything happened so fast, we're kind of just treading water, and we're going with it as it goes, and we're trying to pretty much keep up with the pace that the career and success is going, and the limelight, really.
That's amazing. Well done.
So he came so he said, let's do the scholarship, 1 year, full paid tuition, at any certified training center. We have about 150 schools around the world. And they just go online to gracieuniversity.com/Brian Ortega Foundation, and you can actually submit an application. Tell us all about your story. Tell us the challenges that you're dealing with for you or your child, or a child can submit it for themselves. We just want to hear the stories, and then we have a great team here who will help us kind of sift through and choose the ones that need it the most, obviously initially, and as more resources and Brian partners with more of the influential influencers that he has access and friendships with, and we do through the Gracie University here. We'll be able to hopefully sponsor more and more kids as we go forward. I mean, and what's crazy is that it doesn't need to be for a pursuit of a professional fighting career for a kid. The benefits of having Gracie Jiu-Jitsu and the lifestyle that an entity like this provides go without saying, how much it's way beyond, your aspiration to be a fighter.
It's amazing. So now your sights are set on Max Holloway. You're getting. Did you said at the press conference that no one kind of came up to you and told you that this is happening, but it's obvious that this is happening, right? Did you have any discussions with Dana White or anyone after?
I've talked to my manager Ed Soros, and we pretty much he sent me some text messages, and we talked, and it's in discussion, but I wanted to hear from Dana's voice, and I didn't get to see him that Saturday, So I just wanted to hear from the horse's mouth. Something that makes me feel a little bit more better, But
he
I
did
heard it from all of my main sources and everything, and he did say it after.
Right.
But at that time, there was so much going on that I didn't see him or hear him.
And I respect that. And you deserve to hear that. You deserve. I mean, that's part of the fun of getting the title shot. I know you haven't had a lot of chance, a lot of time to think about the guy because you just did an amazing thing on Saturday. But early on, what are your initial thoughts on fighting Max, who's looked really good as of late?
No, I love the style. I feel like this is one of the people who said it, and I'm saying it again. It's that I feel like this is one of the biggest fights in the UFC featherweight division since Conor and Aldo. And I mean, this is going to be a great pay-per-view. You got two young guys who are hungry. I feel like we have similar backgrounds. He's always stayed with his team from the beginning. So did I. He's got his group of friends. I got my group of friends. He loves surfing. I love surfing. Like Hawaiian versus Mexican. We both like to scrap. I love this fight. This is the fight these are the fights that I look forward to, and I'm happy that I'm going to be able to be there for a full 25 minutes this time and fighting for the world title.
I love that story that Ed said to you before the Cub Swanson fight, on the Sunday before, that your life is going to change now. And he was 100% right. Boy, has your life changed. How are you dealing with the newfound fame? you know, because people are going to come out of the woodwork now. Everyone's your best friend. Everyone wants to talk to you. Everyone wants a piece of the pie. I mean, life is going to get crazy. You're in LA. You're living the dream as a 27-year-old. How are you dealing with all this? Do you like it so far? Do you like the attention? Is it a little weird? How would you describe it?
It scares me because like you said, I kind of shot up pretty fast, and everything's like, was just, you know, like all eyes on me. But I'm still the same, man. I have my team, and I always said that these guys, the guys that I've already had around me since the beginning, they're like, I call my lawnmower. They mow all the lawn. They cut the grass short so I see all the snakes in the grass. And at the end of the day, I don't care what happens to me. As long as I have them on my side, I've already won, because people in life look for friends that have their back no matter, ride or die friends. I've already have that. Since the beginning, they've been with me. And I don't really care what happens. You know, as long as I have them in my life's going to be all right, because life is bigger than fighting. After this, we have lives, and I've seen a lot of situations where people fall hype to it, and then they get let down by this world, and then they have psychological problems after because of all the things they endured, and the ups and the downs and the letdowns. So I'm sticking to my team. I'm saying to myself, and that's it, man. As long as I have these guys around, I'm going to be all right. They're always going to tell me what to do. Yeah, they're always going to tell me what to do. They're always going to tell me the right thing. They're not going to, you know, kiss butt and say, oh, yeah, Brian, yeah. They keep me grounded, and I'm already grounded as it is. So I feel like I got a really great team with me.
Yeah, and you have great people around you. By the way, last thing, was your brother in attendance? Did he go to the fight?
My brother, mom and dad let him go to the fight.
Yeah.
Brought him to the fight. He still cried at the fight. But, dude, my little brother loves you, man. He was like, I was on the TV. I was on the interview. I had the camera. And then, I mean, after that, he blew up, man. Honestly, he feels like, he won the title shot. It was all about him this last week. Like, forget who I am. It's all about my little brother, Christopher Ortega. He's, I mean, man, I love this little kid, and I'm glad that this light on me allowed me to show the world who he is, so he can shine. You know, because he's got his own dreams, his own goals, and he's 13 and didn't have to go through what I'm going through. So now I'm gonna, you know, try to coach him in a better way where he doesn't have to make the same mistakes I did.
I can't wait. Yesterday, obviously, was the Oscars. I can't wait when he wins his Oscar in like 15 years. People go back and say, oh, that was his first interview. He did some MMA interview that we could say that we talked to him, you know, before he was a superstar. It was great to meet him.
Exactly. And it was with you, bro. And
yeah.
We actually got a call about him possibly being on some kind of movie. They already talked. They gave me some call already. So I got to call them back, and they love the kid. They love him. So we're going to talk about it, and then see my manager can probably jump down the Ortega ladder and manage the little Ortega kid. But, you know, I know my boxing coach is the guy who really say, hey, bring your little brother to the open workouts, let the world see who he is. And this whole week he was like, don't forget who's representing you. Don't forget your agent.
Coach James said that. Yeah.
Coach James told him that. And it was crazy, man. The energy was fun with him this week. Actually, before the fight, right before the fight, he was with me all week, sleeping in my room and everything, just hanging out with me. And he fell asleep. Like, you know, he fell asleep on me.
Oh, wow.
I told my dad this yesterday in the car. And we're both sleeping, and I'm getting my rest before the fight. And I looked down, and I woke up, and I looked at him, and I go, you better not effing fail this kid. And I remember telling myself, like, you better not effing fail this kid. And, I mean, he was a big motivation for me this weekend.
What a beautiful story. Congratulations, Brian. Congratulations, Henner. Well done to both of you. So happy for you, and so happy that you're using this platform to do good in this world with the foundation and giving back to kids, you know, who can't afford to do something like that. It's a beautiful thing. Really, I'm really so happy for you guys. Enjoy the victory. Enjoy the time off. And, of course, you know, good luck whenever you get that title shot. Whenever you get that call from Dana, hopefully he does call you and actually says it to you so you can hear it. And hopefully we'll talk to you beforehand. But thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, bro. Tell your mom I say hi.
She's texted me like 8 times during this interview. I see it blowing up on my phone. So she says hi as well. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Henner, great to talk to you as well, man.